Yes, my people, it is your boy. Okay, let me wait for that plane to get lost. Yes, my people, it is your boy VRD, and we are back for another commentated drive. In today's video, we are going to be covering the final section of the Brighton mainland, that being the section between Gatwick Airport and Brighton itself. So I feel like I could have covered this in the class 387 video, the video between London Victoria and Gatwick Airport. I could have easily done a continuation onto Brighton, but like an idiot, I made the video end at Gatwick Airport. So what I've decided to do is come down to Gatwick Airport platform 7. Sorry, these planes are interrupting me. I've decided to come down to Gatwick Airport platform 7, and we are going to wait for a Brighton bound service. As you can see, we got one due in at 10:58. What I'm then going to do is take command of that service from the artificial intelligence and just drive it down to Brighton. However, I'm going to voice crack. However, I'm going to spice it up a bit. This service is only scheduled to call at Haywards Heath, Burgess Hill, Hassocks and Brighton, but I am actually going to stop at all of the stations along the route just for the route knowledge, you know. So those stations, these planes, man. Yeah, so those stations are Three Bridges, Balcombe, Haywards Heath, Wivelsfield, Burgess Hill, Hassocks, Preston Park, and finally Brighton. So it's going to be interesting because I've never stopped at Three Bridges, Balcombe. I've stopped at Wivelsfield once or twice, and Preston Park I've stopped there a couple times as well, but I don't stop at those stations too often. So yeah, this is just putting my route knowledge to the test a bit. And as you can see, the train's already here, so I'm gonna take you guys through my little process of taking command of a train from the artificial intelligence. So what I'll do is just sit in the seat here, set the driver reminder appliance, just good practice. FNR switch into forward, FNR switch into off, not forward guys, FNR switch into off. Remove the master key, come over to the safety systems isolation panel, activate the AWS driver safety device and vigilance isolation switches, so turn those into the vertical position there. Sit back in the driver's seat, insert the master key, move the FNR switch into the neutral position, and acknowledge the AWS self-test sequence. Just going to check that the headlight switches are in the correct position, which they are. You can see our headlight switch is in the day running position and our tail light switch is in the auto position. And our destination has been set to Brighton already, so we're just going to go outside and ensure that everything is being displayed correctly. Yep, that looks fine to me. And we're due out of here in a minute and a half, so I'm going to get the doors closed in about a minute's time. I'm also just going to open up these windows here. And I'm going to check that I'm recording. We do also have a green signal, so I'm going to reset the driver reminder appliance. Just look at our calling pattern quickly. So Haywards Heath, Burgess Hill, Hassocks and Brighton. But like I said, I'm going to be stopping at every station along the way. So our next station is going to be Three Bridges. We're now up to 15 seconds prior to our departure time, so I'm going to get the doors closed. Just glancing at these CCTV monitors here, pressing the door close button. Our door interlock lights have illuminated. Just glancing at the signal of final time and the CCTV monitors. Moving the FNR switch into the forward position. I'm going to test the hill start button here, so just holding down the hill start button and moving the PBC into the off position. Observing a reading of 1 bar on the brake cylinder gauge. I'm then going to select power notch 1, wait for about a second, release the hill start button and observe that brake cylinder gauge reading fall to 0. And because I've set the track to be slightly wet, I'm not going to whack the PBC straight into full power. I'm going to be a bit more gentle with the acceleration. So just going into power notch 2. I'm going to up it to power notch 3. And now that we're up to 20, just up into notch 4. Speed limit departing Gatwick Airport platform 7 in the southbound direction is 60, immediately raising to 70. And once we join up with this track to our right, the speed limit will be increasing to 90 miles an hour. Next station is Three Bridges, which isn't too far from here. And I need to try to fight off my muscle memory because, like I said, I don't normally stop there. So my brain might be tempted to just fly through there at 90 miles an hour, but I need to actually remember to brake. Now, I can't actually remember how many signals are in between Gatwick and Three Bridges, but what I do know is that the signal protecting Three Bridges station has a position 4 and 5 has position 4 and 5 junction indicators fitted to it. So by the time I see that, I should already have the brakes in. I have a feeling it's this signal coming up here, so I'm gonna make a brake step 1 application now. Yep, I can see the position 4, 5 and 6 junction indicators. My bad, I thought it was just positions 4 and 5, but no, there's position 6 fitted to that as well. So we're down to 60 miles an hour. I'm just gonna up that to brake step 2 momentarily because I can see the platforms coming up here at Three Bridges. Down to 40 miles an hour. And down to 30 miles an hour for the entry into the platform. So I'm reducing the braking force down to brake step 1. And just looking out for the 8 carriage stopping position, but I don't think there are stop boards fitted to this platform in train sim mode, so I'm just going to take it up to the end of the platform. A bit of a slow and cautious approach, but like I said, I don't normally stop here. This is my first time ever stopping at Three Bridges station in train sim mode, I believe. So yeah, just using a few bursts of brake step 1 to come to a nice smooth and controlled stop. There we go, full service, neutral, and we have a door release on the left. So yeah, as you can imagine, we're going to be running ridiculously late, but like I said, I just wanted to stop at all of the stations just to try spice up the content a bit. There's a rather long turnaround time at Brighton station. I think the turnaround time for this service is nearly 40 minutes at Brighton, so we'll be able to make the time back up for our return journey. I'm gonna record this journey and the return journey all at once, but they'll probably be in separate videos. So yeah. Right, we have a green signal, just looking back along the platform there, but you can look at the CCTV monitors, it's up to you. Pressing the door close button. Our door interlock lights have illuminated. Just glancing at the CCTV monitors a final time. F and R switch into forward. And I'm not going to bother using the whole start button because we're on fairly level terrain. I think it's a slight upward gradient, but it's not significant enough to warrant use of the whole start button. So just going to momentarily select the off position, then straight into power notch 1. Up to power notch 2. Just glancing at those monitors of final time. Up to power notch 3 once we hit 10 miles an hour. Again, just because of the wet conditions, trying to have a bit of a smoother, a bit of a more gentle rate of acceleration. There we go. And up to power notch 4. Next station is Brighton. Now, you may have just noticed that we just entered a straight section of track. If you were traveling at 90 miles an hour, as soon as you enter that straight section of track, so the straight section of track that we're now on, shut off your power, select the off position on the PBC. And the reason I say that is because the speed limit will soon be reducing to 80 miles an hour. So by shutting off the power from all the way back here, you're going to be able to naturally reduce your speed through gravity rather than needing to apply the brakes. So just a little trick I thought I'd tell you guys. I'm not able to demonstrate it because we're currently traveling below 90 miles an hour. I demonstrated a similar trick in my Victoria to Gatwick video, and speed limit's just reduced to 80 miles an hour, but this reduction in speed is only temporary, just to help us negotiate this left hand curve here. So I've shut off the power there, but I'm now going up to power notch 2 just to help us maintain 80 miles an hour. This is Brighton Tunnel. Just shutting off the power there because we were beginning to push the 80 mile an hour boundary. And we had a little board attached to that gantry there that was extremely hard to make out, telling us that our speed limit will be increasing to 90 miles an hour, or our speed limit has increased to 90 miles an hour. But Brighton station is right around this right hand curve, and I actually almost forgot about it. So I've made a brake step 1 application, and I'm probably going to need to increase that to brake step 2. Yep, just increasing that now. In fact, no, back down to brake step 1. I thought I was a bit closer to Brighton station than I actually am. Down to 50 miles an hour. You can see the platforms at Brighton coming up, just upping the braking force up to brake step 2 again. Back down to brake step 1, trying to get that 30 mile an hour entry speed into the station. There we go. Back up to brake step 2 because it's only an 8 carriage platform here at Brighton. And we do have stop boards here, so that's quite helpful. Back down to brake step 1. Up to brake step 2 again, back down to brake step 1. I'm not going to go all the way up to the stop board because that seems a bit too far ahead for me. I feel like if I was to stop right next to that stop board, my front passenger doors would actually be off the platform, which is not good. Anyway, we're at a stand, so full service, neutral, and we have a door release on the left. So by now we should have actually departed Haywards Heath, which is the next station, but like I said, I want to stop at all of the stations, so we are going to be running quite late, so try to ignore the timetable. Anyway, we have a green signal down there in the distance. Pressing the door close button and glancing at the CCTV monitors whilst doing so. Our door interlock lights have illuminated. Checking the signal and the monitors a final time. FNR switch into forward. Straight into power notch 1. Glancing at these monitors again. Up to power notch 2. Power notch 3. And power notch 4. Next station is Haywards Heath. We're now passing over Ouse Valley Viaduct. I'm telling you, these Victorians, they were not ramping with their construction masterpieces, because this is a gorgeous structure, I can't lie. I'm not gonna go into the outside view and show you guys because that is unrealistic. But just search up Ouse Valley Viaduct or Balcombe Viaduct on Google Images and you'll see what I just passed over. It is absolutely beautiful. Anyway, we're up to 90 miles an hour, so I've just gone into the off position there on the PBC. And shortly after passing that bridge there, I'm going to make a brake step 1 application for Haywards Heath station. You can see that we just passed a double yellow signal. That tells us that that specific signal being double yellow tells us that we have a red signal at the end of Haywards Heath platform. And this signal is a single yellow, so again that just means we have a red signal at the end of Haywards Heath platform. So brake step 1 seems to be doing the job for now. May momentarily need brake step 2, especially considering that there's a red signal at the end of the platform, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm just gonna up it to brake step 2 for a bit, just to bring our speed down to 20 miles an hour before passing over the AWS magnet associated with the red signal at the end of the platform. So we're down to 25, just reducing that back down to brake step 1 and down to 20 over the AWS magnet, which is perfect. And we're on a bit of a downward gradient coming into Haywards Heath here, so I'm not going to get too confident approaching the stopping board here. Brake step 1 seems to be doing the job quite well, to be honest. Just momentarily releasing there just to creep up to the stopping board. Back up to brake step 1. Just trying to stop with that board in the porthole window there. Perfect. 5 to 8 carriages. Full service, neutral. Our signal has cleared to a green aspect, so we don't need to set the DRA. And we have a door release on the left. Right, it's time to depart. In fact, it's 4 minutes after the time to depart, so let's get out of here quickly. Green signal, monitors, pressing the door close button. Door interlock lights have illuminated. Glancing at the monitors and the signal. F and R switching to forward. Power notch 1. Power notch 2. Power notch 3. And up to power notch 4. It's a shame that wheel slip and wheel slide isn't really simulated properly in train sim mode. I feel like the developers really need to jump on that just to spice up the driving experience a bit. Because when you're on these things in real life and you're driving in wet conditions, they slip and slide like there's no tomorrow. I said and then I just went silent. That was a dirty daydream that I was just having. But yeah, next station is Wivelsfield, by the way. But yeah, as I was saying, these things just slip and slide like mad in wet conditions. And an interesting thing about the Electro Stars is that when they're braking in wet conditions and wheel slide is detected, the electronic brakes actually cut out, so the motors aren't used to brake the train. It's just purely done by friction brakes. So you know, sometimes you hear the sound of the train decelerating. It's like if wheel slide is detected whilst the train's slowing down, that just cuts out. It's just silence. So yeah, something interesting I thought I'd point out there. Right, Wivelsfield station isn't too far from here, so in fact I'm gonna get the brakes in from now, so just selecting brake step 1. I believe this is the signal protecting Wivelsfield station, so I'm actually gonna up the braking force to brake step 2. This isn't really a good way to be driving in wet conditions, but in real life I believe you'd get away with this because these trains have a rather sophisticated WSP and sanding system. Just reducing the braking force back down to brake step 1. We're down to 40 miles an hour. I can see the platform is coming up. Down to 30 miles an hour for the entry into the platform, which is perfect. I'm gonna up it to brake step 2 because I'm not sure where the 8 carriage stopping position is. Back down to brake step 1 just to slowly creep our way along the platform. I'm actually gonna release the brakes for a bit. And I can't see the 8 carriage stopping position, so I'm gonna just take it up to the end of the platform. I can see a stop board there, but I'm not sure what that says. Just using a few bursts of brake step 1 to help us come to a nice controlled stop. Where is it? There it is. Alright, 9 to 12. So yeah, I don't think the 8 carriage stopping position has been fitted. Anyway, full service, neutral, and we have a door release on the left. I take back what I said. I don't think I'm going to record the return journey on top of this. I'll probably edit this down, then do the return journey separately, because it is taking quite a while. Right, we have a green signal, checking the monitors, pressing the door close button. Door interlock lights have illuminated, checking the signal and the monitors of final time. FNR switching to forward, and we're on a bit of an upward gradient coming out of Wivelsfield here, so I'm going to use the hill start button into power notch 1, releasing the hill start button, power notch 2, glancing at those monitors as we pull off, up to power notch 3, and here we have a warning for low adhesion. So in the autumn time, this area is a high risk area for wheel slide. And I've just upped the power to power notch 4 there. So yeah, as I was saying, this is a high risk area for wheel slides, so you'd probably want to be avoiding brake step 2 whilst travelling through this area. Burgess Hill Station, which is our next station, is actually very close to Wivelsfield, so I'm only going to accelerate up to 50 miles an hour, then get the brakes in straight away. If you wasn't stopping at Wivelsfield but you were stopping at Burgess Hill, you'd actually get your brakes in before passing through Wivelsfield. That's how close they are together. I did jump on the brakes a bit too early there, so I'm just releasing them now. And back into brake step 1 as soon as we enter the platform. The 8 carriage stopping position is about 2/3 of the way along the platform, so I'll just up the braking force to brake step 2, back down to brake step 1, just trying to find that stop board. There it is there. Releasing momentarily just to creep up to the correct position. There we go, brake step 1. FNR switch, PBC into full service, or brake step 3, FNR switch into neutral, and we have a door release on the left. Right, we have a green signal in the distance, glancing at these monitors, pressing the door close button. Door interlock lights have illuminated, glancing at the signal and the monitors of final time. FNR switch into forward, and I'm going to use the hill start button because I think we're still in a bit of an upward gradient. Releasing the hill start button, we're in power notch 1, glancing at those monitors of final time, up to power notch 2, power notch 3, and power notch 4. Next station is Hassocks, which is it's a bit of a way away from Burgess Hill, but it's not far enough away for us to get up to 90 miles an hour. So I'm going to show you my trick for stopping at Hassocks station. So there was the signal that we had, the first signal that we had after the part in Burgess Hill that we passed. This is the second signal that we're passing now. If you're traveling at 90 miles an hour, you'd probably make a brake step 1 application from here. And the trick I use is to aim to be passing the third signal, so this signal coming up at 70 miles an hour with a brake step 1 application in. So just remember the third signal after Burgess Hill, if you pass that at 70 miles an hour with a brake step 1 application in, you're going to stop for Hassocks Station on a very, very good deceleration curve. So yeah, I'm in brake step 1 now. You can see the platforms at Hassocks Station coming up. And I'm just so confident right now. I'm literally just going to leave the... Look, my controller's in my lap, guys. No hands. That's how confident I am in the braking position for Hassocks Station. Alright, that being said, I'm going to up the braking force to brake step 2 momentarily, because the speed was taking a bit longer than expected to fall off. I don't know why. Up to brake step 2 again. There's the stopping board coming up now. Now, even though we're 8 carriages long, at this specific station, I'm going to stop at the 3 to 5 carriage stop board. And that is because I know for a fact that the developers have messed that up, because Hassocks Station has a 12 carriage platform, and look how far along the platform we are. It's more than obvious that all of our carriages are currently in the platform. So yeah, I don't see why that says 3 to 5. That can easily say 8, 9, even 10. I'm sure if you stop at this point along the platform with a 10 carriage train, all of your carriages will still be on the platform. Anyway, full service, neutral, and door release on the left before our passengers think that we've died or something. Green signal, glancing at the CCTV monitors, pressing the door close button. Perfect. Door interlock lights have illuminated, glancing at the signals and the monitors of final time. F and R switch into forward. We're on an upward gradient departing Hassocks, so using the hill start button again, just into off on the PVC, still holding the hill start button into power notch 1, letting go of the hill start button after about a second, just seeing that brake cylinder gauge reading full to 0, then up to power notch 2. Power notch 3. And power notch 4. Like I said, just being a bit more gentle with the acceleration due to the wet conditions. A lot of the time I tend to sync up the game weather with the weather in real life, but it's not always possible to sync up the time, mainly because I record a lot of these videos at 4 o'clock in the morning. that's literally how busy I am, guys. It's currently 4:22 in real life right now in the morning. So our next station is Preston Park. This is the Clayton Tunnel that we're entering now. And again, these Victorians, they were not messing about with their construction. Because what on earth was that? Oh my gosh. So we're now climbing over what's known as the South Downs. The summit for that climb is just after the southern portal of the Clayton Tunnel. So we're now passing over the summit of the South Downs, and we're going to be on a downward gradient for the rest of our journey into Brighton station. So there's the North Downs up near Gatwick, between Gatwick and East Croydon, and then we have the South Downs here near Brighton. So up to 90 miles an hour, shutting off the power there. And our speed limit is soon going to be reducing to 75 miles an hour. But the warning board for that speed reduction is a bit too close to the speed limit itself. So what I normally do is, so we're on a left-hand curve at the moment. Once you enter the straight section of track after this left-hand curve, that's a good place to get your brake step 1 application in. So about now, make a brake step 1 application, providing you're traveling at 90 miles an hour, of course. There's the warning board for the 75 limit. And releasing releasing the brakes and you can see we were down to 75 just in time. And I'm also keeping in mind that we're stopping at Preston Park. I'm very used to flying through there at 75 miles an hour. So at the AWS magnet for this signal here, I'm going to make a brake step 1 application, because this is the what is the word? That signal is 2 signal spaces away from Preston Park. There we go. I couldn't think of a fancy way to say that. So yeah, brake step 1 seems to be doing the job at the moment. Now this is the signal protecting Preston Park station. Jumped on the brakes a bit too early there, so I'm just releasing them now. In fact, way too early. Yeah, I probably should have got on the brakes maybe 10 or 20 seconds later than I actually did. Anyway, back into brake step 1, and I acknowledged an audible AWS warning regarding a warning board for a speed reduction down to 40 miles an hour. And we're actually coming into Preston Park way too fast here, so I've gone into brake step 3 momentarily. Back down to brake step 2, back up to brake step 3 because our stop board is right there. Back down to brake step 2, down to brake step 1, releasing. Trying to crawl up to that stop board, up to brake step 3. Ooh! That was a horrible stop. But I needed to stop with the stop board in the porthole window, or it would have damaged my sense of accomplishment. So yeah, apologies passengers, but it had to be done, innit? F and R switch into neutral, and we have a door release on the left. And we were due into Brighton station 2 minutes ago, so we're actually not running too late, because Brighton station is about a mile from here. So yeah, pretty impressive. Well done, Kieran, well done. Right, we have a green signal. Checking the monitors, pressing the door close button. Glancing at the CCTV monitors of final time, as well as the signal. F and R switching to forward, and we're on level terrain now, so no need for the whole start button. Straight into power notch 1, power notch 2. Just glancing at those monitors of final time. Power notch 3. And to be honest, I'm just going to remain in power notch 3. I'm not going to go up to power notch 4, because our speed limit is going to be reducing from 75 miles an hour to 40 miles an hour in about half a mile. So if you weren't stopping at Preston Park station, I'd say make your brake step 1 application as soon as you pass the warning board for the 40 mile an hour speed limit, and that brings you down for the 40 mile an hour speed limit on a decent deceleration curve. what I'm gonna do is accelerate up to about 50 or so. Still in power notch 3, we're up to 50 miles an hour now, so I'm shutting off, making an immediate brake step 1 application, just acknowledging the AWS indication for this double yellow signal here. That tells us that we have been cleared into Brighton station. And you can see we're down for the 40 mph speed limit, bang on, but I'm going to remain in brake step 1 because we have a further speed reduction down to 25 miles an hour. We just passed a warning board for that. And the 25 mph speed limit commences just after the signal protecting Brighton station, which is this signal here coming up. We have a single yellow signal, and we have been cleared into Brighton platform 4. There's our 25 mph speed limit now, so I just decelerated down to that straight away. And what I'm actually going to do is make a further brake step 1 application to bring our speed down to 15 miles an hour. And that is due to the fact that these points here are, the turning radius on these points into Brighton station is ridiculously tight. 25 miles an hour seems reckless to me, very reckless. So yeah, I decelerate right down to 15 miles an hour before crossing over these points. And I do the same thing when I'm departing from Brighton station. I'd hang about at 15 miles an hour for a bit, just until I'm clear of the point work, and then that's when I accelerate up to 25. In my Electro Star Guide video, I accelerated straight up to 25, but that was just to keep things nice and simple. Anyway, about midway along the platform, I'm going to make a further brake step 1 application just to bring us down to 10 miles an hour. And that is because in reality, if you're doing above 12.5 miles an hour, when you're 4 carriage lengths away from the buffer stops at a dead end platform, you're going to get an emergency brake application. So I'm just using a further brake step 1 application to bring us down to 5 miles an hour, releasing the brakes, another brake step 1 application, releasing the brakes again just to have a nice controlled stop. And the final brake step 1 application brings us to a stand just as the buffer stops disappear beneath the windscreen there. Full service, neutral, we're at a dead end, so I'm setting the driver reminder appliance. And we have a door release on the right this time, so I'm going to cross over here and use these door release buttons. Perfect. Now I'm going to close the windows. F and R switch into the off position, removing the master key. Headlight switch goes into the off position, tail light switch can remain in the auto position, and that is it. Exiting the cab and just ensuring that we have 2 red tail lights being displayed, which we do. Return to free roam. So yeah, that concludes this commentated drive. I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. Constructive feedback and criticism is more than appreciated and more than welcome. If you'd like to further support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Love.